Nick, is Bradbury out of concussion protocol?
Bob, we're not allowed to comment on all that, right? Well, then, there you go. Yeah, but you guys keep asking me about the injuries. I never give them to you. Like, keep trying, I guess. But I don't even think I'm allowed to comment on that. So.
The game 2 years ago against the Bucs and Todd's defense, what can you take out of that, and how much have you seen growth with yourself and Jalen after facing?
Well, completely different. You always look at the last time you played an opponent, always, right? Because you want to see how they defended you, and you want to see how they played, their defenses there, how much has changed, all those different things. So that's always in your routinely weekly to do, no matter whoever we're playing, right? Is study that old game. Completely different team on both sides, right? There's new players, there's some new schemes. I know that I got major respect for Todd Bowles' coach defense. They're always really well coached. He provides a lot of issues, and he's been doing it for a very long time, and he does a good job of adapting to who he has and let them play the way they need to play. You look at the tape from 10 years ago to 5 years ago, and it looks different because he adapts to who he has, and so major respect to him. But yeah, you look at it because that's part of your process of going through and studying. But again, like I said, different team, both sides of the ball.
Is there a motivational factor at all that you can play with that? I know some of the coaches talked about Jalen, particularly not being able to read the defense, got caught. Is that something you use at all?
Our greatest motivation is not wanting to let each other down. There'll always be other things there'd be good stories to tell and all that, but we want to make sure we're a team, and our greatest motivation is not to let each other down, and so that will be our motivation, and that's always going to be our motivation here.
2 years ago, when you had come off that Thursday game against the Bucs, you used that time to really look at the offense and come up with some changes. Obviously, you're 2-0. Things aren't as dire, but the offense hasn't been clicking, especially the pass offense, as much. Did you kind of look at it that way, or is this too early to even try and think?
It's pretty early, but obviously you still go through that routine. Again, your process. So we went through the same process we would have if the Thursday night game was played on week 15, right? It just happened to be on week 2. There's less sample size to look from. And so, that process remained the same. We went through the same things, and you might not get as many answers, I guess, to the test because the sample size is low, but we definitely went through that same process.
Nick, what does it say about your team and the talent on offense that people are picking apart your offense and saying, that you guys need a ton of work, and you are sitting here at 2-0?
Sure, yeah. Again, our job is to get better every single day, and so that by each week, our job is to get better today and to better tomorrow and to better the next day. So on Monday night, we have a chance to go 1-0, and that's all we can focus on. Nobody, let's be honest, nobody in the NFL is playing the best that they're going to play right now in the year. Because it's a build, it's a climb, it's a process, and so. That's okay. We understand everybody is going to have opinions, and we just have to focus on ourselves. We have to focus on getting better every day. And it's really as boring and monotonous as that, is just put your head down, go to work, block out noise. If you're somebody that gets affected by that, block it out. Don't listen to it. And really just focus on, outside world's always going to have expectations and things of what you guys are allowed to look into the future. You guys are allowed to, that's your right in the media, that's your right as fans to look into the future and say, well, if we're not playing this, if we're playing like this in 8 weeks from now, then, oh my God, our job is to get better every day. And that is it. And it's hard. It's way easier said than done, but it's a mindset that we feel like we have to have, and our job is to get better today. And so we can play the football we know we can play and we need to play.
Thursday for DeAndre Swift was a bit of an outlier in his career in terms of touches and carries. Is that sustainable for him, or do you have to kind of have him on more of a pitch count?
Yeah, you guys go back to the running back question. Who's the starter? All those things. No, No, I understand, but we're gonna ride the hot hand. Do I think it's sustainable? I mean, I think he's, his body's ready to go, and I don't ever want to put an expectation on anybody of, if he's got the hot hand on Monday night, we'll keep rolling with him. So we feel really good about the work he puts in to make sure that his body's right, and it's hard not to run a ball like that and give it to him 35 times. It's hard not to do that.
With Devontae and AJ, how do you find their
Were you okay with what he said about LaSalle?
No, I had a problem.
Was it true? Was it true?
No,
Yeah.
no comment.
Jeff, the St. Joe's prep grad, is saying yes. All right. I got a buddy that went to LaSalle. He didn't like that comment either, but hey,
I
whatever.
responded immediately on social media. Yeah. With Devontae and AJ, how do you find their personalities like bounce off of each other in the meeting room, behind the scenes, how they mesh and how they make each other better?
I think I love to watch their growth as friends, all right, teammates and friends. I think they both respect the heck out of each other, and they're helping each other get better, and that's what you want. Like, you got two guys that that have done it at a very high level, are able to help each other out of getting better. When you watch a tape on receiver, you could put on whoever, you could put on I'm trying to think of somebody who's not playing anymore, Andre Johnson clip and be like, oh, look at what Andre Johnson did right here. Like, they have this ability to say, hey, what were you thinking? Right? They're sitting right next to each other to be able to, hey, why'd you do that right there, Devontae? Why'd you do this right there, AJ? And they're able to get each other better because they're not only watching each other do it, but they also can sit there and talk about it. I really like their relationship, and it is, I think that's pretty special.
I can circle back to that playoff game against Tampa, but as you watch the film, where have you seen the most growth from Jalen in particular?
Again, completely. I mean, that was a long time ago. That film was a long time ago. We watched it in the sense of, what did Todd do against us? What are some of the personnel, things like that. I'm not really even evaluating it like that, to be quite honest with you, Zach. I know it is. Appreciate the question. I know it's a good storyline and everything, but we know we're different. We know they're different. We watch it more for scheme and stuff like that at this particular point.
Going back to your expectation talk, you said it was easier said than done to sometimes put that aside for certain guys. Jason mentioned the temperature of the team this morning is a little bit on edge. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think that when you're always, again, you're never complacent, right? You always want to be in that stage. If you think you're doing things, even if you're playing to our standard of being really, really good, you always want to get better from that. And you never want to be complacent, because this league can humble you very quickly. So I think just more about that is in the sense of, like, we know we got work to do. We know we got to get better everywhere, all phases of us, and offense, defense, special teams, coaching. We know we have to just get better, and that's just, I think that's just the reality of what the NFL is.
Nick, the history of the NFL says the Super Bowl loser is not the same the next year. I can give you all kinds of numbers. I'm sure you've seen them. What have you noticed, if anything, that are challenges coming off that? Because there's only one team in 28 years that got back.
Sure.
What challenges have you seen?
I think just expectations of some of that stuff. Like, listen, are we going to be playing the same football that we played on February, what was the date? 12th last year right now? No, we're not. Nobody is. And so we're on this climb again. You're starting back from the beginning. So I think that there's expectations. And again, the thing that we did best last year is take it one day at a time, one game at a time, everything, little bits at a time. I think that there is a hard mindset to have, because you want to have the expectations. And so I think that's what I've noticed, is just like, it's not necessarily the expectations of us, it's expectations of the outside world. But all we can focus on is us in this building, getting better every single day. I know it sounds like, oh my God, this guy's going to say get better every single day again. Yeah, I am. I mean, because you can't allow your mind, our goal right now, what's today? I know it's Thursday, but the 21st, September 21st, is not to win the Super Bowl, is not to win the division, is not to think about whoever we play next, is not to, it's not. It has nothing. Our goal right now, again, is to focus on what we can control, and that's getting better today, going out here and having a great walkthrough that I'm almost late for, having a great walkthrough, right? Then having a great practice, then having great meetings right after that, so we put ourselves in position to go 1-0. And I know that sounds like, I don't know if it sounds cliche to anybody. I don't know if their goal is not to win the Super Bowl. That's not at all what I'm saying. Our goal is to get better. And then if we can gradually get better every single day, with this team, I'll put my chips where they lie, and we'll see what happens.
We could do one more, guys.
Nick, you mentioned the small sample size of looking back so far on the 2 games, but for 2 new coordinators, how beneficial was it for them to kind of go back and kind of reevaluate how they've called these games?
Yeah, I think anytime you have that ability to, to be on a long week and have a little bit of a mini bye, that's beneficial. Not only for the way you're analyzing and evaluating plays, but also for the coordinators of how they call it. And so, had a lot of discussions on everything, and those guys have done a good job of self-evaluating themselves. I think that's really important, to have self-awareness and self-evaluation of what's been working for you and what hasn't. I do that as a head coach, and I know they did that as coordinators, so obviously very beneficial anytime you have that little mini break.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, everybody.